as far as me and how I'm going to, where I'm coming at with the district is, this goes back into my history of going into the voting booth and just not being happy that there's nothing that represents me. We've always had corrupt Democrats. We've always had corrupt politicians. Illinois is the most corrupt state in the nation, behind Louisiana maybe. We fight between them.
Yeah, Mississippi
more corrupt.
or
We've got more governors in prison. Yeah, one of those. We're always trying to figure out which one's got more elected officials in prison. Anyways, as disgusting as that is, as far as that's what we've got representing us, that didn't really bother me. It did, as much as the word progressive. Things have changed. And now we've got these politicians that are not just there to steal your money. They're there to steal your money and destroy the nation. They don't believe in America. They don't believe in what we believe in. They don't go to church on Sunday. They don't believe in anything that made America great. They believe that we're the problem and that we be like everybody else. And I know your name's Podgorski and my name's Muehlfelder. We're not kicking bear and stands with a fist. We came here for a reason. Our people did. They came here for the reasons that made this country great. And there's an ideology out there that's working in opposition to that on a daily basis. And it's striking us right here in the 19th district. And when I saw that was it, I had made my decision. I'm going to run. When I see people that are running for representing me where I live being so far to the left and so anti-American and anti every single thing I believe in, that I just couldn't stand for that.
Yeah, no, Jeff, and you bring up a good point, and I think we've tried to hammer this point home, and I think it works to a degree, and we picked up some momentum, but we still have a long way to go, and that's this sort of tradition of voting Democrat if you're a blue collar guy or gal, or if you're from Chicago, you're a union guy for whatever that means, right? Or your grandfather was in a union, therefore you're a Democrat. I mean, aren't those days over to a degree? If you listen to the things that Bill Clinton said when he ran for president in 1992 and contrast that with the things that Democrats are saying today. I mean, go back even further and look at the 1960 presidential election with John F. Kennedy versus Richard Nixon. There wasn't a debate between massive, all-encompassing government and limited government. The debates were these nuanced debates about how do we handle this delicate situation between, us and the Soviet Union in the Cold War in handling Taiwan, right? These like nuanced things, because everybody was agreeing we're all Americans and we like America. America's good. America's not an evil country, right? These things are just taken for granted, right? That we have to have strong borders and a strong military. It was the how exactly we accomplished that was being debated. Even in 1992, Bill Clinton was talking about the need for strong borders, getting people off welfare. He signed welfare reform with the Republican Congress, put him as president. And now the debate is America evil or not? One party says it is, the other party says it isn't, right? Yeah. Should private schools receive any funding at all of any kind? And should the Catholic Church still be tax exempt? These issues have gone so crazy to the left. How many generations does it take from the actual party's behavior until voting behaviors changes? To me, it would be pretty quickly, right? If the Republican Party started becoming the party of hating this country, pro-abortion, open borders, it wouldn't take me very long to switch. But it seems to me like the public in general takes decades, generations to switch. When will a light bulb go off for God-fearing, patriotic Democrats that maybe the Republican Party isn't perfect for them? Maybe the National Republican Party isn't exactly what they believe in on every issue. But isn't the Republican Party more fertile ground for them and more hospitable for them than the Democratic Party as a whole, right? You're never going to get everything you want. So I know that was a lot in that question, Jeff, but when is that going to change? Is it ever going to change?
I think it is going to change. I think it's a matter of time, and I think it's a matter of I don't want to call it herd mentality, but it's people think there's strength in numbers, and when they think they're all alone, it's really tough to be the guy that stands out. Has to lead them. Someone has to build something up from the bottom. You start to notice that hey, I'm not the only one, and then that's when you become comfortable coming out and saying, you know what, you're right. There's enough. You know what? You're right. I do fit in with you guys better. There's actually guys to fit in with now.
Right.
We're an organization that didn't exist 3 years ago.
Right. Yeah, Jeff, and the thing I try to instill in people, I don't know if it's going to get through or not, but it seems like most voters identify with a political party based on national issues or based on just habit or tradition. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of well-educated, very progressive liberal voters and very moderate Democrat voters who do pay attention, and they know exactly why they're a Democrat. They've made a very conscious decision. They've done the math, and they've decided, I am a Democrat. But then there's a big chunk of voters who do not pay attention. They just kind of do what they've always done. And I don't know what the percentage is, right? I don't have data on that. I don't have a focus group, unfortunately, that's telling me it's 20%. At some point, though, I think folks need to pay attention. And unfortunately, the data I've seen is going less and less this direction, unfortunately. But I wish folks would try to separate their hatred for the National Republican Party or their hatred for Donald Trump with the individual candidates running. And the thing I try to remind folks is that the Republican Party, I don't speak for the Republican Party nationally. I don't speak for the state party. I just speak for the Northwest Side GOP Club. We are as blue collar as it gets. If you think this neighborhood Republican organization is funded by big money or national interests or anything like that, it's crazy. Our largest donor is you, me, right? It's Willie Wilson is our big donor, right? He gave us
Lonnie's Pizza.
Lonnie's Pizza kicked in $250. It's Jets. You know what I mean? Maria's Mexican Restaurant. It's a bunch of cops and firemen. I work for a beverage company in a blue collar job, right? Where half of our members are either hourly employees or they're in a union or a lodge or they have a pension or, how many folks do we have that are stockbrokers in our organization? Seriously.
Not too many. None that I know of.
Maybe one or two out of 300, and they're very casual members. And so I want to kind of reinstill in that, folks, that I'd say a majority of our organization, a half of our organization, probably family household income is under $110,000 a year. It's a very blue collar group that I think reflects the neighborhood pretty well, probably better than these progressive groups do, right? These progressive groups are very loud and vocal. And I think one of the things you mentioned too, Jeff, is I don't know how many voters behave this way, but I think there is a groupthink mentality out there where, if you see your neighbors are 80% or 90% plus of a particular political persuasion, you might be just accustomed to go along with them just for the sake of fitting in. And I think
there's a lot of that out there, unfortunately.
Yeah, one of the things we tried to do, simple little things, was just let's put up Trump signs. Yeah, Trump's not going to win Illinois.
No.
Call me a defeatist if you want and say that I have a losing mentality. I know couple of our members would say that's loser talk. It's okay, fine. Most likely Donald Trump's not going to win Illinois. And if he does win Illinois, it's going to mean he won 50 states, right? Because Illinois is about one of the most. It means he won 45 or more states. He's probably not going to win Illinois. Why waste your time putting up Donald Trump signs? Well, because people want them and they're asking for them. And it's our job to connect the national party to the local party. But if nothing else, I think it just shows the guy who's kind of on the fence and going, man, there must be something wrong with me if I like Donald Trump because everybody hates him. Well, not everybody hates him. In the 41st ward where I live, the 41st ward where I live, Donald Trump got 43% of the vote and he lost by 9% to Hillary Clinton. He lost, but it wasn't 90-10, right? It was you were almost as likely to be Trump voter as not Trump voter. And so we put those signs out there so people could see, because they don't pay attention to the election results. We put signs out there so people could see, you know what? Holy crap, there's 15 or 20 folks that put signs out in my precinct. Maybe I'm not, in this extreme minority. And so that's what we hope to do for you, Jeff. We want to get the message out there. We did that for Amy Kessam, and we came up short in 2018, but, she won her committee.
But you did a great job.
She did a great job. She had 1,000 yard signs up in 2018, and, we were up against a tremendous blue wave, unfortunately, and a huge turnout of new voters who all were voting on a sort of an anger toward Donald Trump. But 2020, hopefully it'll be a little bit different, Jeff. I know you support the president, and you're not shy about it, and I think that's great. But being a Republican state rep has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It has nothing to do with the National Republican Party. It has to do with this juggernaut of a problem we have of unfunded liabilities in the state of Illinois.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit, if you would, before we wrap up, what's something you hope to accomplish if you become a member of the General Assembly here in this race and you get down to Springfield? Name a couple of things you'd like to accomplish.
Tackling that problem. Everybody knows we're in just like our fight with Mississippi for the worst, most corrupt, we're also fighting with California for the most broke, usually every other year. Mm-hmm. We're completely broke always. We've got more money going out than coming in. And I think it's more of a spending than a revenue problem. It's something you're going to hear Republicans say always, because that's what we believe. We believe in smaller government. We don't believe the government should have 1,000 different spending programs and 1,000 different things that they can do for you, where you should be able to do many of those things on your own. And a lot of those things are just patronage jobs. Mm-hmm. A lot of those things are just part of the old corrupt Democrat way in this state of Illinois, which is still heavily Democratic. Mm-hmm. We've lost what? We did rank number one in people leaving the state. I mean, they weren't leaving because the taxes were too low. They weren't leaving because there was too much freedom here. We make it very difficult on small business owners with all the regulations, and we force business over the state lines into Indiana and Wisconsin, and Tennessee now is another place people are going. They're getting out of here as fast as they can, and I even hear from time to time people talking about growing the tax base. I've heard Democrats say they have to grow the tax base. Well, clearly they don't understand how to do that, because you don't grow the base by chopping its head off. If you were in kindergarten, you probably learned that story about the golden goose. When you chop his head off, you stop getting the golden eggs. That's how it happens. I mean, they missed that day, the Democrats in kindergarten, I guess, and they never recovered from it. Because it's a very simple story, and it's ageless wisdom, and they don't have it. They don't possess it. You can't tax away all your wealth. Okay.
No, well, good point, Jeff. And I think, we've been banging our heads against the wall for, 20, 30, 40, 50 years here in Illinois about that. And we have to put blame where blame is due. Democrats do run the state, but to be fair, a lot of Republicans have been willing partners. They've kind of resigned themselves to be this permanent minority party in Illinois. And
Sure.
A lot of, not all of them, but a lot of them have resigned to this fact and said, you know what, I'm going to make some deals and I'm going to go along and give them some air cover. What do we mean by air cover? That means voting for some of these spending bills, these unbalanced budgets and spending bills, to then allow Mike Madigan to have some vulnerable Democrats vote no and give them support so they can tell their members, I voted no against that tax bill. Well, a lot of voters don't know, this is all pre-planned. This is all pre-planned. Mike Madigan has the board up, and he has all the House members and all the Senate members. And he says, how many votes do I need to get this passed? How many votes do I need to override a veto? Okay, this candidate right here, in a swing district in the suburbs is vulnerable if he votes for this tax increase. So we're going to allow him to vote no, but we're going to get this soft, weak Republican over here to vote yes as a favor to me so that we can say it's bipartisan. Mm-hmm. And it's really disgusting how that works. It's all pre-planned and orchestrated. And a lot of folks also vote for their local Democrat state legislator because they know him or her, and they say, oh, he's a good guy. I know him. My kid goes to school with him. Don't elect people that are good guys, because that does not mean good representation. I don't care if you're a good guy, Jeff. You are a good guy. But that doesn't make you a good candidate for state rep. I want a candidate who's going to go to Springfield, tell Mike Madden to go pound sand, tell him to go ahead and run somebody against me in 2 years. I don't care.
You got your guy, Matt.
I'm not there for a pension. I'm not there to get to stay in office for life. I'm not there to get favors. I'm not there to raise money. I'm there to vote no on every single spending increase, expose the corruption, use your office to expose all this nonsense that's going on, cut spending, and bring some fiscal sanity to the state of Illinois. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're going to get along great, Jeff, that we recruited you to run, that you stepped up. We're glad to support you. And hopefully we'll hear more from you in the next couple of weeks while we're quarantined here about some of the things that you want to do down in Springfield. Jeff, how can folks get in contact with you? Is the easiest way just to email the club for now, or to go on your Facebook page, or what?
Yeah, the Facebook page is probably the easiest way. I check it very often, especially now with this quarantine where we're all stuck inside when I'm not working. So the Facebook page, yeah, I have the Jeff for 19 Facebook page, and as well as if you wanted to email Matt at the club, it'll filter its way to me. But
Perfect. So the email address is nwsgop@gmail.com. Website is nwsgop.com. And a final plug for one of our sponsors. So tell us about Lonnie's Pizza, Jeff.
Family-owned business. My dad and my brother started it up 20 years ago now over on Cumberland and Irving. So,
and you guys are open for delivery and carry out?
Open for delivery and carry out. We're not open on Mondays, but 3:30 to I believe it's 10:30 or 11. I don't know. I don't order that late, but yeah, once again, I don't have much to do with it. It's my dad and brother. So
understood. Well, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for stepping up and running. Thanks for being a police officer and serving as a detective. And we'll talk to you really soon.
All right, man. Good talking.